Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by my colleagues Jim Patterson and Paul Estabrooks. Jim and Paul will be today's presenters and will discuss today's topic of how to extend the new Project Accelerator built on the Power Platform into a robust project portfolio management solution. And as always, I hope that today's presentation grants you some insight into the world of project and portfolio management and gets you excited for the new developments happening within the industry and here at OnePlan. Remember, if you'd like access to these slides or have any questions, feel free to reach out contact@oneplan.ai and we'd be more than happy to assist you. Thank you again, and I'll now turn the presentation over to Jim.
Thanks, Robert. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for spending some time with us today on this relevant topic. Extending this new Project Accelerator on the Power Platform is really a topic about Microsoft's overall direction on where it's going with solutions, and specifically their project and portfolio management solutions in this case, and how OnePlan Solutions is really in lockstep with them in helping them realize and even extend that vision to provide even more capabilities to Microsoft customers. So with that, let's get started. A little bit about why we're talking about this today. This is our wheelhouse. This is our subject matter expertise area. We're consistently recognized as a leader in project and portfolio management, and we were once again named Microsoft's Global Project and Portfolio Management Partner of the Year in 2021. Now, we have multiple gold certifications, but we have a particular emphasis in this project and portfolio management space, and not just traditional project and portfolio management, but we're also certified with Scaled Agile Inc. as a Scaled Agile partner for helping people to do Scaled Agile, safe related things, etc. So we have a passion for this, and we spend almost all of our time with people in this area. And we do more than just the technology and the solutions. We really feel to succeed in these areas, you have to address the people and the process as well as the technology. And we have deep expertise in all areas of the Microsoft Cloud offerings that help us deliver these things and help customers get the most out of their investments in their Microsoft platform. So let's talk about some of the fundamentals as why this is important. In Microsoft's vision in moving to this Power Platform and some of the things we're going to talk about today, it's really about bridging the work management gap. You know, we all manage projects, but we're not all trained to do so. You know, in this modern day and age, not everyone is a classically trained PMP certified project manager. Oftentimes people in other day jobs get dubbed a project manager for a specific effort, and they have to go and execute, and they have to deliver, and they have to do so successfully. So it's how do we handle those casual, occasional, or accidental project managers, as they're often called. We also believe collaboration is critical, so our solutions have to be more collaborative as we move forward into this world. And it's chaotic, but work is happening everywhere. And that could be just because we have geographically, globally dispersed teams, maybe because we're working more remotely because of the pandemic. But collaboration is even more critical, and having vehicles for doing that becomes even more fundamental to what we need to do. And we want to manage work our own way, meaning there is traditional waterfall approaches. There are different agile approaches, and there's hybrids of all those, too many to count. And sometimes the legacy tools offered by our organizations don't allow us to execute in the way that we want to work in modern fashion. So because of this, a lot of teams are choosing their own tools to succeed, and the advent of cloud tools makes these things more accessible than ever. And sometimes with shadow IT and delivering tools and using tools that maybe aren't provided by the organization becomes much more prevalent, and we have this proliferation of tools within our organizations. So what does this do? We want to use our data effectively, but because of this proliferation of tools and all these different data sources and silos of information, the reporting is a mess, and aggregating this and reporting on it all becomes a very manual process for most organizations. So without that, we need to make better decisions, but no one easily has the big picture. So how do we provide that in a more streamlined fashion and an effective way so that we can get the information we need at a time when we need it? Now, today's modern platforms and software platforms, and there's major ones out there today, most of them are very specialized, and you only see some of the business data. For example, it might be a financial only, or it might be a service platform or other things, but you might only see a part of the picture. And most processes in organizations today, as we get more complex, are far more connected and require touch points in much more disciplines and areas of solutions than ever before. So in order to encompass all this, we need things that actually talk to one another and work things on a more integrated fashion. Now, Microsoft's platform in the cloud and platforms in the cloud is in a unique position to bring all these things together. Many people are using Microsoft 365 for the office productivity tools, Dynamics 365 for the business solutions platform, and then individual solutions being provided by third parties or customers themselves that they put up into the cloud in Azure. And bringing these things and having these things available in the Microsoft cloud is something that gives us an opportunity to bring this all together. Now, I talk about proliferation of tools, but even within the Microsoft stack, there's a whole variety of work, project, and other types of productivity tools that need to be brought together, whether it be in Dynamics, whether it be in Office 365 with things like Teams and Planner and To-Do and SharePoint, Microsoft Project traditionally, or the new project for the web we're going to talk about today. Azure boards within Azure DevOps for managing more agile projects. And you could probably go even further down the road in this regard in the Microsoft stack. But the keys of bringing these things together into a common forum, common repository, and having common access to these things is a vision that can be achieved today. So Microsoft's vision overall, if you want to put it into this, is that teams get to work the way they want, but enterprises get the results that they need. And this is their work management vision that OnePlan Solutions has embraced, and we want to help further. So let's start with project management. Many people, when they think about Microsoft Project, they think about Microsoft Project on the desktop or the traditional Microsoft Project Professional. Now, the modern incantation of this that came out over the last year plus is Microsoft Project for the web. It allows for more simplified browser-based project management. If you look at, say, like the Gantt chart view you see up here, that's one mode you can work with in here. You can also work with this stuff in more of a board fashion, like Planner, to where you can actually leverage the same data and work with more Kanban-style cards in this type of mode, as well as just a traditional list view, working with it more like a spreadsheet. The idea is you can work with the same data, but work with it the way you want. The key is to make it simple, easy to get started, and easy to execute. It doesn't have all the capabilities of Microsoft Project on the desktop, but it's easy to get started for that occasional project manager. So it's a fresh new experience, more modern. Collaboration is made easy with things like co-authoring that you find in the other Office tools. It has intelligent planning with dependencies and such. And the idea is that it's an innovative, modern platform that young and experienced users alike can both thrive with. Now, the new project and the portfolio management capabilities we're going to talk about today is built on what Microsoft calls the Power Platform. And we look at things like Power BI, which many people are already using today. Power Automate, which is Microsoft's thrust for business process automation and workflows and some connection of tools. And then Power Apps, which is the low-code, no-code platform that allows you to build solutions very easily without being a developer. Now, this new Microsoft project for the web is built on this platform, and all of this data is stored in what's called Dataverse, which is the central repository for all this information. And the key is that this allows some of that vision we talked about, bringing these things all together into one common platform and one forum. Now, this may sound new to some of you and some of your organizations, but be assured that this is a strategic direction for Microsoft. Satya Nadella, from the CEO of Microsoft, has said that it is one of the things that's core to what Microsoft is doing as a company. So as we show you some of these things, if you're intrigued by it, just, take some comfort knowing that if you go down this road, this is where Microsoft is going longer term. Now, OnePlan Solutions has really embraced this vision. And the key is not everybody starting from the same place. So we're about providing solutions and options for customers to meet them where they're at. And if you think about this in terms of a crawl, walk, run type of tier of solutions that you can embark upon or start with, we're going to talk about some options for that today. So if you think about this new project for the web and this simple interface for building schedules, what happens when different people build any number of these schedules. Well, automatically, even without saving, this data going to be stored in this Dataverse repository that I talked about. Now, this Dataverse repository now, and having a central data source instead of all these Microsoft project files scattered around your organization, makes other things possible. So if we think about base product, if you're just using the web-based project for the web, you can build your projects, you can create your tasks and your schedules within there, and then to consume that, you use Power BI reports for the base product in order to get the aggregate data of all the information that's being generated in all these different project plans. So reports and dashboards are provided out of the box, leveraging Power BI for these reports and to access those. So if we think about all these plans going into Dataverse, in this base product, before you do anything else, you can actually enable and start viewing this data and consuming the data across multiple projects via just simple Power BI reports. So that's kind of a base way to get started, but it's, only takes you so far. So if that's all you need, that's an option. Now, this same storing of all the project data into Dataverse gives us some options. Because of the fact that the data is in Dataverse, we can now start leveraging Power Apps. And Power Apps can actually take these schedules and put them in the context of an overall PPM solution, allowing us to do a variety of other things that we can't just do in a scheduling tool like Project for the Web by itself. Now, to have that data automatically stored and then be accessible via a Power App, it allows us to do certain things. Now, yes, you can build your own things in Power Apps, but many organizations don't want to start and build things from the ground up. So Microsoft now has available a Project Accelerator, often called the PPM Accelerator as well, that provides a pre-built solution to get you started with to envelop this Project for the Web capability into an overall PPM solution and provide things like a project request area, the ability to do program management, the ability to manage a whole collection or portfolio of projects, be able to have profiles for resources and assign those resources to your projects, as well as an extended set of reports beyond just what you get with Project for the Web by itself that support this aggregate data that you get in the accelerator. And OnePlan Solutions is proud to say that we actually work with Microsoft and we helped build this accelerator for Microsoft, and it's available to you to get started with as a jumping off point for project and portfolio management using this new Project for the Web capabilities. So if we think about moving on to a crawl stage, you take what we talked about earlier on, which is being able to build projects in Project for the Web, all of your tasks and schedules that you build in there, and the reporting that we talked about with the Power BI report content pack. And we add to it the Power BI capabilities, the Power Apps capabilities. And this adds in things like the project requests, the program level roll-ups and capabilities, the ability to do things like issues and risks and change requests, status reports that include narrative that people often add to those status reports, color-coded KPIs, and even data that you can capture and manage things from a governance perspective as you go through your different phases and stages of your project life cycles. And so this is something that gets provided out of the box, pre-built, and lets you get started to extend just the use of building schedules in Project for the Web. Now, what does that look like? You would have a Power App with a portfolio of projects and different views and capabilities within that. But what's feeding that is the building of those schedules in Project for the Web, and you have an extended view or extended set of reports that are now available to you. So this is a way to kind of start with a base solution. And for some folks, this may be enough for them to actually provide a good portfolio visibility of their projects and some of the things that they might want to do in that project management process. Now, what does that look like? Demand management or requests with reports and analysis around that. Program management to actually manage roll-ups of programs and even capture data at a program level and have reports around the programs. Same things with project management, being able to use Project for the Web and be able to use the capabilities of that Project for the Web in whatever dimension or whatever aspect of that you'd like to use. Risk management with risk registers and reports around those risks you have across all your projects. Same things with issues. Same things with logging change requests and having visibility to those via reports. The status reports that might have objective measures that come out of the system as far as things like costs and resources and schedules, but also the narrative-based stuff we want to communicate in our weekly or whatever our reporting cycles are. And then the project intelligence with the extended accelerator report pack that has a lot of that portfolio level data that you wouldn't get if you just had Project for the Web by itself. Now, as I said, this may be enough for some folks and be able to harness this stuff and bring it all together. But the analysts like Gartner say there's critical capabilities for project and portfolio management that we find many organizations are going to need. And it's in areas of things like time management, more detailed financial management, resource capacity planning, and even more extended project portfolio management beyond just having a register of projects that you can look at. And to that end, if we think about this Power Platform, OnePlan really does add value and extends Microsoft's vision and helps Microsoft realize and extend this vision that they have for project and portfolio management. So as we add OnePlan to the mix, it's the same environment, but the idea is we're adding capabilities that aren't there without the OnePlan assistance at this point in time. So if we go into more of a walk stage and we take all those things that we said that were in the accelerator, in that earlier crawl stage, and we add to it via OnePlan things like strategic portfolio management, strategic execution, more enhanced portfolio management capabilities, more extended prioritization and what if scenarios, detailed financial plans and financial management, time phase resource capacity planning with very detailed capabilities, as well as being able to have resources go in who are assigned to work and be able to have a my work area where they can actually status all the things across everything in their plate across that portfolio, or even a timesheet for them to report time when you have to have chargebacks or billability to customers, or just track it for CapEx and OpEx needs. The idea here is this is that kind of walk stage where we can just add, and OnePlan has been built to just plug into that accelerator such that it adds these capabilities in total, like you see in this graphic to the right. So if we think about this, from the top down, OnePlan adding within the Power App itself and within the accelerator, more detailed portfolio management capabilities, more detailed resource capacity planning and resource tracking, more detailed financial planning that has detailed cost categories and different cost types, as well as from an execution level, being able to leverage your Microsoft project schedules or Project for the Web schedules, but also to have planning tools right within OnePlan that are beyond or extended to what you get out of the box. And that includes things like time tracking, and even be able to do things like more agile planning and more agile backlogs. And we'll talk about bringing in things like Azure DevOps in a minute. So if we want to take it to the run stage, let's take all the things we've talked about thus far and add to that productized connectors that allow us the flexibility and the choice of execution tools that we want to use, really providing an enhanced adaptive PPM solution. Adaptive meaning kind of that hybrid, maybe a mix of agile and waterfall projects or some mix of those types of things. And by doing those things with the connectors, we can use more than just Project for the Web as the scheduling tool. We can bring in your Microsoft Project desktop tools. For example, if you need the more robust capabilities of Microsoft Project Professional, we can now bring that data into the mix with these productized connectors. We can bring in Azure DevOps data from your more agile efforts, and even more popular tools like Jira, et cetera. And even going down to things like financial integrations and such. The idea is in the run stage, you then integrate and bring in these other dimensions and these other tool sets and these other methodologies into the mix, but all coming into that same Power Apps context with the assistance of OnePlan. Now, what makes that possible is the integration platform that OnePlan brings to the mix. That way we can bring in your software development or agile tools. We can integrate with your financial ERP or HR systems, or your other work management tools like Project on the Desktop, or even service management tools with things like Dynamics or ServiceNow, or CRM systems, for example. The idea is that we have easy ways without doing custom coding and custom one-off connectors to get that data integrated as you need for your organization. On top of that, we're going to talk about leveraging people's user experience within the Microsoft Cloud. OnePlan's been designed to not only be used standalone in a browser, but as we're going to show you today, have it as a fused user experience. So wherever you're working, today we're going to focus on consuming OnePlan within Power Apps and within the accelerator that we've talked about for PPM, but it could also be done and consumed within Dynamics. Last week, we did a webinar on consuming it right from within Azure DevOps. Or even we did 2 weeks ago, one about consuming it within Teams. We're actually going to do a webinar next week on doing it within SharePoint. The key is if users are predominantly working in an environment or tool set, we want to make these capabilities available to them in the tools that they're working in every day. So there's a lot of flexibility in maximizing your use of the Microsoft tool sets in the Microsoft Cloud. So our vision to help extend Microsoft's vision is that you have one interface, one experience, and that's brought together by OnePlan in conjunction with the Microsoft technologies. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Paul Estabrooks, who's going to show you these things in action and show you that these things are available to you today, should you want to avail yourself of them. So take it away, Paul.
Thanks, Jim. What I'm going to walk through today is I'm going to start, Jim laid out sort of that transition from crawl to walk to run. And I'm going to quickly show you the crawl and the walk, and then I'm going to jump over to the other environment that was on the screen a second ago. And we'll go a little bit deeper in sort of where you can truly go with this and all the capabilities that we bring to bear in Power Apps. So what you see here on the screen is the Microsoft Accelerator that Jim started his slides with and went through some of that capability. And I wanted everyone to see that sort of set the stage. So this is PPM within Power Apps. So I have my opening dashboard. I can capture requests, which was one of the items that Jim talked about when he showed that opening sort of segment of the presentation. I could define a program. This is very useful functionality, capability that really wasn't all that good in Project Online, but here it is. So we can define a program, give it an owner, budget, all the rest of it, and assign projects to it and capture status and information about the program itself. Underneath that are the programs. Jim talked a little bit about this. If I jump into one of these quickly, you can see a bunch of information. Again, all of this is using Power Apps, and when I click on tasks, it's going to load up Project for the Web. So this is Microsoft's vision, and this is how it's been brought to life in doing project management within the Power Apps platform. This is, call it out of the box capability. And there's a few other bits and pieces here, but what I want to sort of show you is what Jim talked about, that transition from crawl to walk and addressing some of the other capabilities that Gartner has identified in that capabilities matrix. If I just switch the area quickly here to OnePlan, you'll see a series of other items have appeared down the left-hand navigation. We still have that same home dashboard, but now we have the ability to see my work. What is the work that's been assigned to me as an individual that I need to come in and complete? Okay, so we're consolidating the tasks that are assigned to those various Project for the Web projects. Maybe we need to do timesheeting. Lots of companies that we work with want to do timesheeting, so it's going to load up a timesheet. I don't have any tasks in this particular time window, and that's fine. That are tasks assigned to me from those same projects, whether I do it in my work or my timesheet. I can jump back to a time window and find those. We can also do some portfolio analysis and portfolio planning. So you'll see here in the analyzer here is a series of other views, lots of data where I can do lists. I can switch to a prioritization screen and prioritize my projects based on how they were scored. I can do board views and roadmap views, and I'm going to spend more time on that in just a minute. Within here, I can add additional data about the projects that we've got in here, and so I'll just pick one quickly, and you'll see that, oops, I want to change how I do that. I'm going to go here first. And I'll grab the project here. And now you'll see that same view we had a minute ago in the accelerator, but we've added additional tabs. That's why I wanted to see it in this pane. It's the financials and resources information, which I can get to through the analyzer as well. But I wanted to show it here because now you can see it manifest as a Power App, and that Power App user experience here as we build out the information about this project. So we've added additional capabilities embedded or fused within this user experience in the Power Platform to extend some of that capability that people are looking for as they mature their PPM processes and data requirements and discipline. So now I can capture more than just a business case. I can capture financials and resources. I'm going to demo that in detail in just a second, but I wanted you to see it here first. So we've taken the accelerator, layered in some of that OnePlan capability, and have created that next level up. I'm going to jump over to another environment we have right here. And we're going to take it a step further. And this just sort of gets into that run scenario. And you'll see down the left navigation that there's a whole bunch of other information and lots of things that you can do. And this really speaks to why we are excited about this approach, why some of our largest implementations are using this approach and these technologies. It's giving us the opportunity to add in other Lego pieces, if you will, other Lego blocks to the equation to round out the solution that they as an organization are looking for. Maybe they want to do some very complex benefits tracking or bill of materials because they're in construction or something like that, where they need to capture other data that wouldn't traditionally be in a PPM system, but they need it sort of part of what they're trying to do. Is Power Apps gives us this ability to engage those other business processes and bring them into here, either as data or as a Power App themselves. So you can see here, I've got that whole corporate strategy. I'm going to spend some time on that in just a minute. Well, a richer demand management, so project intake where I can create challenges, things. I'll walk through that. Portfolios, programs, projects, the analyzer again, and we'll spend some time there. And then resourcing and reports. So we've built this out, and we'll show you where the different connections are to the different tools, but I want to walk through some of this. So Jim talked about this in one of his build slides around that idea of connecting strategy to execution. So this is where that begins. So here in a Power App, I can articulate the objectives that we have for an organization for the coming year or the coming planning horizon, where I want to define, an objective, what are the key results, which is going to come up in the next list that are attached to it, and so forth, and other information I want to know about this. Who owns that key objective? What's the target metric? All that other information that you might want to capture. So we create those objectives. Then we can have our key results. And these key results, they link back to an objective. Okay, they're tied. This one's tied to the improved customer experience objective, which would have been in this Power App here. And we have a bunch of information about this. Again, it has an owner and so forth. Later, we'll be able to tie these objectives and key results to actual projects in the solution. And that's some capability we have in OnePlan. But we're surfacing this information in this demo and in this environment using Power Apps. Gives us a great deal of flexibility in how we bring this to life and the kinds of forms we can create. We'll jump down to challenges. So in demand management, you may want to create a scenario where you've got a challenge where you put out there and say, we want to generate ideas on a topic. So we're going to create a challenge. We want people to come in and provide some thoughts on it. And here's the active ideas coming from our ideas list that people are submitting. So we're using Power Apps to create a more robust, employee or customer engagement model, looking for ideas for how we might improve something or how we might go to market with something or whatever the case may be. And all the way through to, specific requests. This is, very similar to what was in the accelerator itself, and bringing that data through. So we're expanding that out. Likewise, we could create portfolios similar to the program model we had earlier. I could create a portfolio, a program, and then projects. And now I want to dive into and spend some time in the analyzer here inside OnePlan. That's sort of baked into and built into this solution. And you'll see how that tiered architecture comes to life. So there are my portfolios rather, and as I expand this, underneath that are a series of projects and programs and all the rest of it. What you're also seeing here is that integration with the different tools that Jim talked about. Most clients that we work with are eager to bring together some disparate methodologies and audiences. And so they want to engage an audience where some of them want to use Project on the desktop because that's what the tool they're used to and the project calls for that. Others are keen to use the new project for the web. They like the UI, it fits what they're trying to accomplish, it fits the paradigm that they're in and they want to use that. Another group in the organization is using either DevOps or Jira, the two most common, because they're following more of an agile methodology, and you'll see those logos here where we've got projects with those as well. People want to use Teams instead of SharePoint to bring together all the sort of collaboration, documentation, and discussion threads related to the project. And still others want to use something like Planner. And so we see this frequently with clients where they want to bring all of that together. And that's what we're doing here. in this sort of fully built out scenario, we've tied all of these projects to those different environments so that each team can consolidate itself and come together and use the tools of choice, the tools that make sense for them for what they're trying to accomplish. And here, from a PMO perspective, right here inside Power Apps, I can do that prioritization. So I can pull up a prioritized list of my projects. There we go. And I can start to look at how I might prioritize. First, I might just want to drag and drop a project up and down the list based on its prioritization score. Or I may want to do a whole prioritization based on a budget and a target. And I may want to say, you know, what's my FY21 budget target? Oh, I have nothing collect in here. There we go. I'm gonna bring some projects in so that I can look at and prioritize based on this, or I can prioritize based on resources. Next, I can look at these projects in board views. I want to be able, maybe I want to prioritize or plan based on a Kanban methodology or some sort of agile type technique where I want to say, how do these projects align, in this case by business unit, or perhaps by goal, or by team, or by program increment. And so I can create these different views here and do my prioritization here. So if I want to do PI planning, I have a PI plan in here. How does each program increment? What's my budget? And this one's over, so I might want to move a project out of that to bring that in alignment, and I'm going to have to fix that one a little bit later. So I want to be able to do that type of planning. So again, here inside Power Apps, we've unleashed all of this rich capability for how we might want to organize our projects. Lastly, I want to visualize it, you know, roadmaps. We're always being asked to create roadmaps and different types of reporting and different types of approaches. Here we're looking at all of our projects in our portfolio based on business unit, color-coded by health. So we could see where there might be interrelationship and how some projects are doing well and others maybe aren't, and we can drill into that right from here and learn more about that project. I'll jump back to the list for just a second. Let's go to summary, sorry. Grab a project. And I want to drill into this a little bit further. We talked earlier, and I showed the original sort of crawl and walk where you can capture information about a project. Things like what are my, what's the nature of this project, who owns it, what's the sort of budget and things. So we capture that information here. And again, we could see how it aligns to different things that we're trying to accomplish. What goal does it link to, what business unit, and so forth. If we wanted to tie that to strategic alignment, be another field here where we could say which objective or which key result is this project are we doing to complete that and meet that objective. Next, I could capture financials. So I could do this inside as a Power App. I'm going to show it to you here as well, where I can capture the budget for this particular project based on a set of cost categories. This is a common requirement we see from customers. So here we're bringing that to bear and bringing that capability to you within the Power Platform frame to be able to capture that information about a project. Likewise, probably the most popular thing we get asked for is to be able to do resource planning. So I'm going to switch from committed here. Yeah, no, committed is actually where I want to be. That's fine. So what are my commitments? What are my requirements for this project, and how do they interrelate with everything else that an individual might be working on? So if you see Grace here, ignore the date, but in that month had a capacity of 176 hours. There's 48 here on this project and 360 total. So there's clearly an over allocation with the other things that Grace might be working on, and we can drill in and dig into that, and I'll do that in just a second. But from a project perspective, as the PM, I'm trying to articulate my particular needs to accomplish this project. And I may use a combination, or I may start with, generic resources and run through an exercise of requesting a resource and receiving an answer back. So this is a proposed resource. This would go out to a resource plan, to a resource manager rather, who would look at this and say, well, what developers do I have in my team that can fulfill on that request? And I'll respond back by assigning a resource to the project or resources. We support the ability to split a fulfillment or an engagement into multiple roles, because maybe we don't have one that can provide those hours in that time window, but we could split the work across two. So we can split that up and send that back to the PM to start doing the detailed scheduling of their project. Next, I'll show you here just quickly is in this particular project, we are bringing to bear both a project schedule in MS Project and tasks in Azure DevOps. This is a hybrid project inside a hybrid environment, if you will. So these tasks are linked to project. There you can see the project symbol. And then we have all these tasks. Whoops, there we go. I'm going to pull that back out. I don't need that on the screen. I have my tasks, and we can view the schedule here. We would do updates to the schedule and resource assignment at a detail level in Project Professional. That's why we're using it, but we're bringing that here for visualization so we could see it. Likewise, if I flip over to the backlog, there's also data here captured in the backlog that is from Azure DevOps. I'll let that load up quickly. There we go. So I'm in my, this one's connected to Azure DevOps, and I am pulling in from there information that also relates to this project. So bringing those two worlds together for a PM and the project team to have a good, clear picture of what they're doing and to feed that information back to my work and or my timesheet for status capturing on whichever technique or method you choose to use. Likewise, then we can do status reports and create a status report about how this project is progressing. The power here in this scenario is very quickly regardless of how a team is trying to organize itself and how it intends to deliver the project, whether they're only using DevOps, only using Planner, Project Desktop, or some combination of all of those, we can still capture a status report. We could still get a clear picture of the resourcing requirements against capacity demands. We could still get a clear picture of the financials or the budget for this particular project. So we abstract the organization from those things. This is how people want to work. This is the UI they want to use. These are the tools they want to use. But we as a PMO can elevate above that and look at all of this in the aggregate and capture the information we need to make the decisions we need to make to ensure that we're achieving our strategy and delivering on our objectives. Jim, I think I'll wrap up right there. I think that's a good place to end.
All right, well, thank you again for that overview, Paul. Let's summarize and talk about some potential next steps that people on here can take. So, in summary, Microsoft is in the process of reimagining not only Project Online, but what they're doing with project and portfolio management overall. And the new Microsoft solution is built on the Power Platform. Now, the Microsoft Project PPM Accelerator is now available, co-built by OnePlan Solutions, but it's available for free download if you're properly licensed for project. And the Accelerator provides a PPM solution for Project for the Web. And the new Microsoft solution does not have in and of itself full feature parity yet with Project Online for you Project Online users, but it is still a good fit for many customers because not everybody uses all the capabilities of Project Online. However, the PPM Accelerator combined with OnePlan extends that capability and actually goes beyond. It provides capabilities that even Project Online did not provide. So be aware that you can actually do more in this current landscape than you could prior with Project Online. And OnePlan as an organization provides the solution, services, and support to ensure that you have a smooth customer transition and then you get value and success out of this new platform. Now, a lot of this sounds new probably to a lot of you, but I would say this. Many of you, if you're Microsoft Project or Project Online users today, you may already own much of what is needed. And what happens is that it's still a Microsoft Plan 1, Plan 3, Plan 5 scenario. That if you have one of these licenses for Microsoft Project, you may already have access to the Project Accelerator and to the amount of Power Apps that's needed in order to operate within that. The new solution is priced similarly to Project Online, especially if you're using these same project licenses. But as we showed you today, it can be extended to provide new capabilities as needed. Now, Microsoft just recently extended the capabilities of Plan 1, which is really just the Project for the Web license. Plan 3 is what's traditionally known as that Project Professional license. And if you look at this, I take this and see new check marks down here. The Plan 1 users for Project for the Web can actually do most everything we showed you here in Power Apps. Sans the OnePlan capabilities. Now, the Plan 3 users, who are Project Professional users, also have access to the Plan 1 Project for the Web, or they could use Project Desktop if they like. So just be aware that you may already own some of what you need, and we're happy to help you evaluate that. We also have access to tool sets that help the migration from Project or Project Online into the new Accelerator, into the new modern environment. So just be aware that there are tool sets available to help make that transition. We also do webinars about all these types of topics almost on a weekly basis. And next week, in this whole idea of a fused UI, we move on from the Power Apps scenario for people that are using SharePoint Online to manage projects, and how we can actually use our fused strategy to enable OnePlan capabilities right within SharePoint Online for your project portfolio and work management needs. Now, if you're interested in exploring some of this stuff yourself, the PPM Accelerator for Project for the Web is available up on AppSource. If you go up there and download it, it's at no charge. To enable it, you need a proper Microsoft project license to make that happen, just to get started, but you can evaluate the PPM Accelerator on your own. Or if you're just interested in exploring the adaptive project and portfolio management capabilities of OnePlan, also up on AppSource, you can download or access, I shouldn't say download, access the free cloud trial of this so that you can work with it on your own on a limited time basis. We have different templates out there. So not only the adaptive portfolio management stuff that we talked about today, but just a pure agile portfolio management templates available out there, as well as people that want to do strategic portfolio management or professional services automation. Those templates are out there for you to evaluate as well. I would say the adaptive portfolio management one is probably the more fully featured and actually touches on all these different areas, but feel free to go into the subject matter here that interests you the most. And we're happy to support you and chaperone you on those trials as well. Also, if you're not that far down the road and you just want to understand a little bit more about how to get from point A to point B, we offer a free roadmap workshop if you're so inclined to review your current use of tools and solutions, be able to assess your current requirements and maybe what some of your desired future state requirements are, and then help you determine what it would take to migrate into the new solution, and maybe even that evaluation of what you may already own. So it may be just an incremental cost to get you to what you want to do. So feel free to engage with us on this as well. So once again, the free trial's available, the roadmap workshop's available, and Paul gave a very high-level generalized demo today. But if you want, and I've got some feedback on the Q&A today, that if you want a more personalized one-on-one demo of the OnePlan capabilities and OnePlan within the Accelerator and Power Apps, just let us know. We're happy to engage with you and schedule that with you individually. You can either reach us at contact@oneplan.ai. There's more information about these solutions at www.oneplan.ai. And I would say this, you can feel free to reach out to Paul or myself if you like. You are going to get a copy of these slides, so you will have our contact information. But overall, we want to support you and engage with you. We are invested in success, and what we mean by that is we're invested in your success. So OnePlan as an organization, we really are passionate about project and portfolio management disciplines and solutions, and we'd like to help you get the most out of the things that you want to do in this area as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you for spending your valuable time with us today, and I hope you all have a great day.